Subject to Interpretation, a podcast which takes us deep into the topics that matter to professional interpreters. I'm your host, Maria Ceballos Wallis. In a regular series, we visit with interpreters and translators from all over the world who share their professional experiences and their expertise with us and challenge us to reach new heights. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming to our program Eliane Sfeir-Markus, who is a court-certified English-Arabic interpreter in the state of Pennsylvania and an Arabic-certified healthcare interpreter. A wonderful and inspiring public speaker, Eliane is an adjunct professor of Widener University at the University Delaware Law School, an interpreter expert with Language Services Associates, and an instructor with De La Mora Institute of Interpretation. Eliane is also a licensed community interpreter training. She earned a bachelor's in arts and translation from Holy Spirit University in Lebanon. Welcome, Eliane. It's wonderful to have you here.
So nice being here, Maria. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, one of the times that we spoke, you corrected me when I said I called you Eliana as opposed to Eliane because there is an E in your name, and you reminded me that your name is French. So not only do you speak Arabic, but you are fluent in French. Tell us about your background.
Exactly. So as you know, Lebanon is a Francophone country. So we grow up learning French and Arabic at the same time. And then in middle school, I learned English as my third language. So this is how I grew up learning the three languages almost at the same time.
And when you say grew up learning these languages, it wasn't that you were casually speaking these languages. It wasn't that you were just hearing them. It was that you were actually studying them. You were working with these languages at an educational level. Is that right?
Exactly. So in Lebanon, in my school, I went to a Catholic Jesuit school. French was the dominant language, and we were supposed to speak French all the time, and then only speak Arabic when it is time to take the Arabic lessons. And then came English, and we would study English and the grammar English, and all what comes with the grammar and the past tense, and memorize the past tense, the regular and the irregular, starting from middle school until high school. Then in my college, because my degree was in translation, this is why I had to be proficient in the three languages in order to get my BA.
Now, Eliane, you have a degree in translation studies, is that correct?
Correct. I have a degree, a BA in Modern Arts and Translation, Modern Languages and Translation from the Holy Spirit University in Lebanon. And then I came to the States here as an international student, and I studied for 3 years communication and journalism before I had my first baby, Chloe, my firstborn. And then I stayed at home with her until she grew up until 2 years. And then this is when I started my career.
Now, when you started your career, you started it as a language instructor of both French and Arabic before becoming an interpreter. I might add that being a language instructor is actually a very useful skill for interpreters to have, in particularly when you later became an interpreter instruction. Walk me through that whole process of you working as a language instructor, discovering interpreting, and then eventually becoming an instructor yourself again in this field.
So I always knew since I was a little girl that I have something in my heart for teaching and for later on training. What we call now is training and being an instructor. I always had it in my heart. Being a communication and journalism major, that major taught me how to have more of a public speaker persona, how to be able to capture the audience that I am talking to. And that helped me to start teaching Arabic and French for non-Arabic speakers. I taught Arabic mostly to government personnel before they get deployed. And some of them would learn Arabic with me from 8 in the morning until 4 in the evening. I'll drill them with the Arabic language until before they go to Quantico, take their tests and become have on their resume Arabic as their third or second language, depending on the individual. Teaching is a passion of mine, just like interpreting. So that helped me a lot, because an interpreter, we need to go deep into the language. We can't be just bilingual. We have to go deep. And to go deep into the language, the best way is to teach it. So that this year or two of teaching Arabic and teaching French helped me a lot into remembering the rules of Arabic, the rules, especially that I started teaching after being 5 years in the States and immersed into the English language all the time. So that pulled me back and refreshed my memory before I started learning about the interpreting field in the United States and started working as an interpreter.
Now, tell me about that. How did you discover the world of interpreting? I know you had studied to become a translator, but you now are discovering interpreting here in the United States, which is certainly probably a lot different than it might have been in your native Lebanon.
Oh, yes, it was very different because I didn't know the market and I didn't know that this existed in the United States, the community interpreting. I always thought if I'm going to work in my field in translation, I have to work or as an interpreter in the United Nations. And I researched that, but at that time, I had to move from Philadelphia to New York, or I had to give them the ability that I will travel. And I had Chloe, and then I had Taya, and I didn't want to leave them or travel. Then later on, I got a call. After I had opened a LinkedIn profile, I got a call from Language Services Associate, and they offered me a job, an assignment. And then I went to the assignment, and then they started sending me more assignments. And then I started taking Bridging the Gap and dig more and deeper into the field of interpreting. And that's why whenever I am teaching, I like to give my students all the information I have, because it was difficult for me to get this information. It was difficult for me to get how to become an interpreter in the United States. What is community interpreting, healthcare interpreting, or legal interpreting? I felt at some point, especially when I was beginning, it's like it's a secret nobody is talking about. And all my friends did not even know that interpreting existed because they are American or Lebanese and they don't need an interpreter. So suddenly when I started taking those assignments from LSA, the world of interpreting opened to me. And I'm very happy. I'm still working with LSA, and interpreting has been my passion.
At some point during that whole process, you participated in a shadowing program for legal interpreters at the First Judicial District of Philadelphia. Now, this was back in 2013. This was before you obtained your National Center for State Courts certification for Arabic. Talk to me about the importance of that experience. I think it was, what, a 6-month shadowing?
It was more, a little bit less than a year. It was almost a year when I took it. I think now it changed. I started interpreting in the healthcare before 2013. The court always scared me. I had this fear and terror of going to the court, and I would be so scared going to the court. Then I dig deeper into my research, and I found what Judge Chen is doing, and she's still doing now, and we're starting it this year again, and is the shadowing program. In the First Judicial District in Philadelphia, what they do, interpreters will shadow staff interpreters. And the staff interpreter would just show them around, tell them how the day goes by, what it is a day in a court interpreter's life. And that broke the ice. After 2013, I started studying for CCHI, and I put my certification for the court aside. After I passed my CCHI, I said, that's it. I still have another certification to get, and I'm getting it. And this is when the journey, the long, hard journey with becoming a certified court interpreter in Pennsylvania for Arabic has begun. Finally, it was a successful one, and I got my certification in what year? 2021. You know more about my my bio than me, Maria. What year did I get it? 2021 or 2020? No, not
well,
20.
according to your resume, it says 2021. So
Yes, December 2021. It was my Christmas gift.
oh, congratulations. Well,
Thank
you're
you.
speaking to someone who took a whole bunch of time to get her federal certification, and that was a journey as well. So I commend you for sticking to it, because it is really critical. Before we get into this aspect of, Arabic and talking about that, I just wanted to mention to you that I think that this shadowing program is really quite amazing. And I come from I guess a hybrid background, in which I also took courses in translation and interpreting at FIU, Florida International University. And this is way back when. I will not be dating myself, but I had a 3-month shadowing internship at the courts, at the 11th District Court. Shout out to the 11th in Miami-Dade. And it was really, really, it was not only eye-opening, but it was a really good opportunity to find out whether I liked the job, whether I thought I could do it, whether I could deal with the many different personalities, and whether I was going to get stage fright or not when it came down to being in front of judges, in front of all of these people. Did you get a chance to, check all those things out for yourself?
Exactly. That's the interpreting part is not the scary part. For me, it wasn't the scary part, the interpreting part. The part, where do I stand? Next to whom do I sit? Who should I talk to when I first get into the courtroom? How can I address the judge who's on the bench? And these things were all clear to us in the shadowing program. The interpreters that we were shadowing were like Elizabeth Basulto and Javi Aguilar. They were really very good at showing us the courtroom in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia First Judicial District, it's a busy courtroom. So if you're new on the block, they're gonna walk all over you. And this shadowing program helped me to stand up in front of the judge, knowing when my first trial started and I'm interpreting, I felt, yeah, that's not my first time. I've been there. I've seen how Elizabeth has done it. I'm going to do it. And it was much easier. This program really helped a lot.
Well, that is wonderful. So I encourage everybody who's interested in becoming an interpreter to seek out your local interpreters, your local courthouse, and find an interpreter who's willing to take you under their wing. Those who know me know that my door is always open in DeKalb County, and I've had a number of interpreters, including those who have come, who have taken the orientation and the commission, and they have come and they've sat with me for a couple of hours, and I mean, I received that kind of treatment way back when. I was mentored, I was helped. I always had access to someone who would answer my questions. And the least I can do is to continue that tradition. And I know that you do the same, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely. And it is always, when you're helping someone else, it's always a win-win situation. You're winning and they are winning. So whenever you're opening your hand to give something and to give an information, you're actually receiving. You're not only giving, you are receiving the satisfaction of, oh, tonight I helped someone. I can sleep thinking that, yes, I helped someone. I made somebody's life easier. And that's what I tell my students. I'll give you all the information. I'm taking you to what I've done and showing you what I've done. Do something new. Be creative and come tell me about it. Don't make the same mistakes, make different mistakes, But come tell us about it. After you've done your mistakes, after you've made your mistakes, tell us about those mistakes so we don't do it.
Now, over the years, while I've been complaining about this or that aspect of a Spanish language test, I've also commiserated with other interpreters who've been trying to pass the Arabic test for the National Center for State Courts. Now, some people have difficulties for one reason or another, but it seems that Arabic is a little bit more complicated than just taking a regular language exam. I think that because Arabic is spoken in so many countries and because there are different versions of Arabic, that it is not easy for everyone to pass that test. Let's talk about this, like break this down for me, because it took me a long time to wrap my head around this idea of modern standard Arabic and all of the other variations.
Great question, Maria, because so many people ask me about the Arabic language and what Arabic do you speak? And is it true that you don't understand each other? Arabic is spoken in 25 countries around the world, not only spoken, but those are the countries that consider Arabic as their official language. We have around 313 million person who speaks Arabic globally. Arabic is the 5th most spoken language globally after Mandarin, Spanish, English, and Hindi come Arabic, the 5th one. These are the facts. Another fact about Arabic is that we have around 6 different dialects. If you take the map of the world, let's stay with Africa, the Maghribi, which is Morocco, Tunisia, they speak their own dialect and is influenced with the Berber. Then go to Egypt, the Egyptian dialect is also its own dialect. And then go to the Levantine, which is my dialect, which is Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, Jordan. And this is influenced by, sorry, we have a storm. This is influenced by the Aramaic language, and we have our own melody when we speak. That's what many people will tell you. Oh, the Lebanese, they have their own melody when they are speaking. Then we have the Gulf, which is UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. This is its own dialect influenced by the Bedou. You have also in Africa, you have the Sudanese, and that's also influenced by their own, the Nubian language, and you have the Yemeni dialect. So we have many dialects, but we are all the Arabic speaking countries because we have first the Quranic language, the Fusha, which is the Quranic language, but then a simplified Arabic, which is the modern standard Arabic, that we all speak together to understand each other. The MSA is the written Arabic. And this is where people get confused. Arabic is a diglossia. Diglossia meaning, I speak Lebanese, but I don't write Lebanese because it's not a written language. I write MSA. So our written language is the MSA. Our spoken language is the Lebanese. The Lebanese is a dialect that has different rules. It's the colloquial. The MSA is the language that has the grammar. It's what's spoken on the news and in politics. That's what we speak. So when we have the Arabic League get together, all these leaders are speaking same Arabic. It's the MSA. When we go to the courtroom, all the lawyers are speaking the MSA. So even if we have an Iraqi lawyer who is, let's say, representing an Iraqi defendant in Lebanon, the courtroom would be able to understand him because they are speaking the MSA and the language on the record is the MSA.
Now, clarify something for me, though, because you said that MSA is a written language. Has it had to be accepted as a spoken language in order to unify all of these peoples?
It wasn't like it needed to be accepted. MSA is a spoken as well. We speak it if you want to write a poem, it is the MSA. Definitely, we have our poem in Lebanese or our songs in Lebanese, but the MSA is the simplified Shakespearean language.
Then MSA is the language that binds all people who speak Arabic languages. And so is that the language of the National Center for State Courts test?
Okay, great question. So when we are doing simultaneous, interpreters are supposed to interpret in the MSA.
So Eliane, it would seem then that if you're going to create a test for speakers of the Arabic language, then it would have to be a test which measures interpreters' ability to manage MSA. Am I right?
Correct. And that is the difficulty, is that we need to go back to our roots in grammar as interpreters and be able to interpret in simultaneous mode the full 8 minutes that are on the test in MSA. And that, I would say, this is where my weakness was. I wasn't good at MSA. So when I was studying for the test, I went back and I reviewed my grammar and I reviewed my rules and the grammar rules in Arabic in order to become more fluent in the MSA. MSA is for the simultaneous, what is going to be put on the record in a speech. If we were let's say in Lebanon, in a courtroom, whenever a lawyer is giving an opening statement, he or she is going to do it in MSA, addressing the courtroom in MSA. So this is why we do it also in MSA here in the States. And also because interpreters are supposed to be educated, proficient in their language, and be able to reach all the population they can reach. So this is why it is in MSA in the state court exam. Now, the consecutive part, it's different. It is going to be the dialect, and the recording is in or Levantine or Egyptian. I believe there are only two. The certification only hold the Egyptian or the Levantine. And then the site, definitely it's going to be in MSA because remember, it is written, it's not spoken. So a written document is definitely going to be an MSA.
To summarize it, if you're going into court and you're going to be interpreting for a person who is taking a plea, let's just say for driving for failure to yield, then, and generally please have a combination of consecutive and simultaneous. When you are interpreting for that person, what the judge is saying, what the factual basis is, you are interpreting that in MSA. Correct? Now, if that person is asked questions, does the back and forth answer, does that result in you using, for example, Egyptian Arabic or Lebanese Arabic, or do you still use MSA?
So here how it goes with me and how I do my interpreting. When I am interpreting for someone that does not understand Lebanese, I use my MSA. If I am interpreting for someone who would understand the Levantine dialect and is more comfortable with the Levantine dialect, then I will ask the question in the Levantine dialect. But to be honest, in asking questions, the dialect is not that different from the MSA because the questioning structure usually is going to be very formal. So the lawyers don't use a slang language.
So where do the differences arise between, let's say, Moroccan Arabic and Lebanese Arabic?
So there is a big difference between the Moroccan and the Lebanese. Moroccan is very influenced by the Berber. Lebanese is influenced by the Aramaic. So we do have totally different dialects. So the difference between the MSA and the other dialects, when we neutralize the dialects, that becomes very it's very similar and common. I know that, for instance, Spanish, you neutralize the Spanish. I can neutralize my Lebanese and keep it Lebanese, but it is not MSA. A Moroccan or a Tunisian can neutralize the Moroccan and Tunisian, but is not yet MSA. MSA has rules, has a specific way of putting the sentence together. It's a little bit harder than speaking English and writing English. It's different.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So let's go over the major things that you focused on when you decided you were going to take the Arabic court interpreter exam.
The Arabic, what I really focused on, Maria, was not only the Arabic. I focused on my self-esteem. I focused on my grit, because I realized that I am not going to. I failed the test when I stopped taking the test.
Explain.
I failed the test if I say I'm not taking it again. But if I don't pass the test the first time, meaning I'm still in the process of taking the test. And that's what I put on my resume and in my bio. I am in the process of taking my state court certification. And that's what I invite everyone, because just by putting it on your resume, you're putting a commitment, and you're making a commitment to yourself that you are going to keep on taking it until you pass. And I didn't stop until I passed. It's a marathon. You keep on taking it until you pass. Once you pass, you take your break. The other thing is, I had to put all my ducks in a row. I had to eat healthy. I had to sleep very well when I was studying and preparing for the test. I had to have not a calm life, because I prepared for it during COVID, but I had to really work on all aspects of my life. When I first took the first test I took it, I started taking more assignments and thinking the more assignments I take, the better I'm going to become as an interpreter and go and just win from the first time and pass it from the first time. It doesn't work like this. I was taking assignments into custody and divorce. The test, we all know, is criminal. So the glossaries I was working on a daily basis are totally different. And the other thing for me, I always get my energy when I am interpreting from the LEP and from the lawyer and the judges. I need to see their eyes, because I'm a communicator. I need to communicate with them when I am interpreting. However, the test is not like this. It's recorded. And once it's recorded, this energy that usually I get from the faces, I don't have it. So I need to do the acebo, listen to Holly Mickelson again and again, without having the energy that people to people give you. So that's what I worked on during my preparing the test. The other very nice thing that helped me is I opened myself to my friends, who are now my friends. And I had 2 study buddies. We studied together. They corrected me and I corrected them. They pushed me and I pushed them. They kept me accountable and I kept them accountable. We had an agreement that whenever we are working, we're working, because at the end we became very close friends and we talked for hours on the phone. And just opening myself to let other Arabic interpreters listen to my interpreting, that helped me a lot.
How long did you study with this group for? Because I started with a study group probably sometime around the beginning of the pandemic. And I have passed the test and they have moved on to other things, but we actually still meet as a study group. Do you still meet with them?
Exactly. We still meet from time to time to study together, to give work to each other. We were studying for more than a year together because I took the test and I passed, and one of them was still taking the test. And so whenever she was studying, I was still studying with her, even if I passed, because this was a commitment and it is always a practice for me. So I needed to practice anyway. And we still study, we still get together, Zoom has been a great gift for us because she's in upper state, New Jersey. So I get to sit with her and we get to study from time to time. We shared our resources. We divided to be able to conquer. We divided our glossary. We divided the materials we had. And this is how we were able to, both of us, win.
That is wonderful. Now, I want to go back to something you said a little bit earlier, which was at some point you thought that by taking more and more assignments, you were going to improve your chances of passing the test. And you realized that you learned that actually working is not practice, which leads us to the concept of deliberate practice. Let's talk about that.
Oh, that's my favorite subject, deliberate practice, because talent is not enough. And I was able to go and interpret, and I was even medically certified. And I would say, I'm medically certified. How come I cannot pass my legal certification? And I will take those legal assignments and depositions, and I will do great in a deposition. And how come when I come to the test, I don't do it well? Because I wasn't recording myself and I couldn't hear how I sound when I am doing simultaneous or consecutive or side. And the one thing that I tell my students, if you have a chef who is creating a new recipe, that chef will taste the cake first before he or she sell it, right? Why do we think as interpreters we can sell our services as simultaneous, consecutive, or side without even listening how we sound, without tasting our service? We're selling, we're in the business, we're all in it to sell our services and make money. How can we sell a service without knowing what we're selling? And when I read a book called Talent is Not Enough, or Talent is Overrated. And that the author was talking about Benjamin Franklin and how Benjamin Franklin deliberately sharpened his skills in English and how he worked on it. And many other people, how do they work on their skills? I felt that, yes, that's true. This is how I should be doing it. Then I was talking with Augustine de la Mora, and I was telling him, Augustine, this is, that's no longer fun, those tests. What's happening? He says, Eliane, are you recording yourself? I'm like, yeah, from time to time. And he's like, no, Eliane. I want you to record yourself for 21 days and see how you're going to, get better at interpreting. And, it is, to become an expert, you need time, and you need skill. And the time that's a right on us. We need to put the time and the effort to become better at it. So recording is what I did. And even Augustine told me how to record and how to sit with myself. He calmed me down because I was very upset. Even my kids would tell me, Mom, you're yelling a lot, you're very mean. We don't want you to take this test anymore. And my husband would tell me, you know what, forget about it. If it is so stressful, forget about it. And then Augustine, I had a course with Augustine that he gave in COVID about the goals and how to put smart goals and how to relax. You need to relax to run the marathon.
It's not necessarily going to be fun. You shouldn't expect this to be a picnic. You shouldn't expect that you're going to have a really good time doing this. This is going to be hard work. It's like Agustin calls it weightlifting. You have to be able to lift that weight in order for you to be able to do other things.
Exactly. It is not going to be fun, but you know that it is not going to be fun for a period of time, and then you're going to earn more money, and then the fun is going to start. So once I became the first certified Arabic interpreter in the state of Pennsylvania who passed Pennsylvania test, I'm having more fun now. I'm really having more fun because my rates changed. I have the right to say that, no, excuse me, if you want me for the position or if I have a private client, no, I want this amount of money because I really worked very hard for it. I earned it. So it's not like I'm being a diva. I earned it. So I can ask for it. So I can have fun with it.
Well, congratulations to you. Now, what tips or what is the, I guess, the most important advice you would give to interpreters of Arabic who have been struggling with the same process that you seem to have, I guess, maybe figured out a way to master it for yourself?
First, I will talk to the Arabic woman interpreter. And I'll tell the Arabic woman interpreter, you can speak Arabic as good and MSA as good as any other Arabic man interpreter. And we can become very proficient in it, and we're very strong in it. Then I'll tell all Arabic interpreter, open up to each other. You need to study together. And when you're studying together, be humble. Don't be shy to say that you made a mistake, and don't ruin the person in front of you to show them that you know better or that you know such and such rule. Work together in order to win together because nobody is going to win by themselves. If you think you are going to go any place by yourself, it is going to be lonely and it's going to take you too long to arrive. Too long. Trust me, I've tried it. But if you have a partner next to you, if you have somebody that you're studying with, the journey is going to be faster. It's going to be funnier. You're going to enjoy it more, and you're going to really have fun going there and have fun arriving and cheering up for each other. It's better than winning by yourself. And then you look around and you feel like, oh, I don't have anyone to celebrate with. When I passed my test, Barbara and I and Ibrahim, we celebrated, the three of us, as if the three of us passed, because we knew that we all arrived. And it is a nicer taste. Really, it is a more delicious win when you win together than when you win by yourself. Arabic is not scary, and Arabic is not that difficult. It is our language that we love and we will always protect. And don't be scared of it. These are my 2 words, or maybe I said a paragraph for our Arabic interpreters.
Well, I am sure they will be very appreciative of that. Help us non-Arabic speakers and those who are not from the Arabic culture understand why you have that, why you gave that special message to women who are interested in becoming interpreters in Arabic and the relationship with that in MSA?
It's funny, I was having a talk with my niece in Lebanon, and she is a very successful woman and a writer. And now she's working on her Arabic. And she told me, you know, Eliane, sometimes I feel because I am a woman that Arabic is hard for me. And that's a little bit in the culture, that the modern standard Arabic, remember, is the priest and the sheikhs give their sermon and their speech on Fridays in MSA. And women, we don't see them that much. Recently, we see them more. But there has always been this feeling that if you want proficient Arabic speakers, it's going to be a male for the longest time. Now, I can tell you many names of great authors, female authors in the Arabic world that have done the chef-d'oeuvre, great art pieces in the Arabic language. But I have no idea why, at least for me and for a couple of women, when we talk, we feel like, yeah, why do we feel that men can speak Arabic or the MSA better than us? Then if you look at interpreters, majority of us are women. Translators, majority of us are women. I have no idea why we have this. Maybe I have it by myself. Maybe somebody now will say, oh no, Eliane, you're mistaken. And then that's my experience, is that I spoke with so many different Arabic women about their Arabic, and they would tell me, yes, I feel that the Arabic men would come and have more confidence about the rules than we do. And sometimes they're mistaken. Not always there. I don't know why, but it's there. At least for me, it's there. And I had to, prove to myself that, no, I'm equal.
Well, you certainly are. And I appreciate you sharing that perspective with us. Now, in addition to being passionate about, all things interpreter with regards to the Arabic language, you also have some other areas that you're passionate about, including competition. What is Ubuntu?
Oh, yes. This is the Book of Joy. A friend of mine, my best friend, gave me the Book of Joy by Edmund Tutu. Edmund Tutu and the Dalai Lama. And once I read this book, all the time I was reading it, I'm like, oh my God, if I can only tell the interpreters community about it, if I can only tell about Ubuntu. Ubuntu is an African term that means I am because we are. I am an interpreter because there have been interpreters before me. There will be interpreters after me. I am not the only interpreter. For me, when I created the presentation Ethical Competition, I really wanted to let interpreters know that there will always be work for all of us. There is a wealth of assignments. Crimes are not going to stop, unfortunately. Diseases are not going to disappear, unfortunately, and we will always have work. So if we start working together, it is going to be easier. Then keep on fighting and keep on feeling that the assignment that Maria got, what actually supposed to be for me, but she took it from me, when actually Maria got the call, the first one. So Ubuntu is always remember you're not by yourself, and you can't exist by yourself. You can't be the only interpreter who's taking all the assignments from this agency or from that court. You can't, because one day you need to take vacation. So what happens? We have to wait for that interpreter because that interpreter is on vacation. Or one day, I don't know, you need to sleep in the morning, or you decided on Wednesday morning not to take assignments. So what happens on Wednesday mornings? No interpreting at that time happens because you're not taking assignments. So this was my take on the competition. And I love this. I love this talk.
Now, in your title, you also included healthy and positive competition. So ethical, healthy, and positive competition. And I think that sums up the whole idea of the collegiality, and it's also a sign of professionalism when you know how to navigate those possibly difficult competitive waters, right?
Competition is a very important value that we all have. We need to be competitive, or else nothing is going to change and nothing is going to progress. We would still be dialing on our phone. Remember, with those, if there wasn't competition, we won't be having now the iPhone. We won't be having, I don't know, we will still have the cassette. Do you remember the cassette recorders?
Absolutely.
So now we have Spotify. That's what competition creates. And if I am not competitive, I would not have taken the CCHI and the state certification. I would be happy just going, doing the assignments, finishing the assignments, and coming home, and I would be stagnant. Competition is crucial for our advancement and for the advancement of the profession. However, an ethical and healthy competition is what is needed, not a competition that needs to ruin the other to stand up on the other. It is the competition that says to the other, I'll pull you up and you will push me at the same time. And we can, both of us, go up. That is the healthy competition. When I'll tell my friend, let's say Barbara, we have this training. Have you seen that training? It seems very important for us. How about we take it? I took that training. How about you take that talk? Or I heard this speaker and he is really good. You should take this, listen to that speaker. This is a healthy competition. We're still competing, but the competition is going to drive the interpreting and the interpretation to a better place. Because when I come and say I'm an interpreter, I need to be proud. I want to be proud to say that I am an interpreter. I don't want anybody to say, oh, you're one of those. I want them to say, oh, you're an interpreter. Oh, thank you for coming, Madam Interpreter. And that can only be created by a healthy competition when we're all coming together, doing the same thing in an ethical way, in a professional way, one after the other. Then when we arrive, they're going to say, oh, here's the interpreter. Thank you for coming.
Now, Eliane, to that end, as they say here in the United States, not only do you talk the talk, but you walk the walk. In 2017, you joined the board of directors of the Delaware Valley Translators Association, which is an ATA chapter, a local ATA chapter in your region, and you currently serve as president of DVTA. Why add so much more to your plate?
Did my husband pay you to ask me this question? Because he's like, we need you more at home, stop volunteering. When I first went to DVTA, I loved the community. I love that we have this organization where we can all put our work together and really push each other and network together and have a drink and laugh and dance together. This is how I started with DVTA. I just wanted to go there, have a laugh with people who are cosmopolitan and they are polyglot, and we're having fun. Then started volunteering with DVTA, and I started with the board. I started as the event planner and started the summits and the events. And in 2020, I was elected the president of DVTA. We had the summit ready and the conference ready, our annual summit. It's a full day of many presentations back to back. And then March happened, March 2020 and COVID. So this is when I started the initiative of DVTA. We are going to stand up by each other. And because all interpreters were hit, especially the face-to-face interpreters, I remember wiping out my 1 month of assignments in March. Just, that's it. Taking it out of my calendar, and I'm like, okay, I'm not making any money now. So what we started, and I'm very happy that the board backed me up, is we started monthly webinars for free for our members, because our members were hit. We were all hit, and the CEUs were still, we still had to get our CEUs, and we still had to keep our certification alive. So we started since then our monthly webinars, free for our members. And now we are going to have our in-person after COVID, our first one after COVID on September 9th. And we're going to have we have a great lineup of presenters, because the presenters that we are having are gurus in our field. And we have so many members at DVTA that may not be able to travel to ATA or to NAJIT and pay. These are conferences that, you need a budget for those. So instead of always wishing to see those people and not being able to see them, so we at DVTA, we're going to bring those people to them, and we're going to have them locally, host them here, and hopefully it's going to be a great summit.
Well, I wish you all of the success in the world in that particular event, but I'd like to have you back here on the show another time where you can tell me about your newest and latest adventures and your latest passion projects. Would you come back?
I would love to come back, Maria. It was so nice talking to you. Time passed so fast. And thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have Eliane Sfeir-Markus here on Subject to Interpretation. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening to our podcast and for watching it on the YouTube platform. Don't forget that this is the 25th anniversary of the De La Mora Institute of Interpretation, and that we've got lots of activities, including the Founder Series on the podcast of Subject to Interpretation as part of our special events. Don't forget to leave us comments, and also you can contact us at info@delamorainstitute.com. Send us your comments, send us your requests for future topics, and inquire about becoming a member. Have a good day, everyone, and never stop learning.